How's it going, peeps? Welcome back to Viva la Coin. I am Joe. I will be your host for today's episode. And to say that we have a lot to talk about is an understatement. I feel like every single person in cryptocurrency right now is just on a battlefield, both trying to explain to people that some of the corrections and dips that we're seeing right now are not only normal, but some of the news that's coming out in the cycles that we followed in the previous bull run and even the one before it, the 2013 one that I was not a part of whatsoever, has seen a lot of the same action. So what I want to do is break down what I'm seeing from my end, a couple different projects that are defying gravity and still doing well during the dip, and then talk about some of the news that has led to this big sell-off and the bear market's coming and we're all fucked. I'm going to talk about all that. So if you have any contrarian opinions, any comments, concerns, or questions, please leave them down below. I'm happy to respond to anyone that does. And as always, we're going to go through this with a lens of attempting to be unbiased, right? I told everyone on this channel, there's a reason why I don't come out and do price predictions. And that is the biggest clickbaity bullshit thing on YouTube or on Twitter for when people talk about cryptocurrency. And the reason is nobody fucking knows. To be honest with you, nobody knows. We can guess on the probabilities of what may or may not happen, but every other person that sat here time and time again, the big channels, the small channels, and said, this coin will hit this by X date, everyone looks like a fucking asshole because nobody knows. So ultimately, when I talk about projects or coins or projections, I just try and give the data. If I thought that this was the end of the bull run and we were going to have issues, I'd come on here straight face and I'd tell you, hey, I think it's time to pull or start, putting your money into stable coins or doing things, because I would do the same. And I'll tell you, I haven't. In fact, I bought the dip again. I take profits on things that are up and I reallocate them to places that I see that there's a lot of potential. Now, just like the previous dip, I'll probably make a video and talk about what I purchased during this downtime once everything does recover. But until then, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what's going on in the space and where we are currently sitting at. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize myself here. And I'm going to try and keep it a little bit briefer. I know my previous couple videos were a little bit longer, but again, it's just trying to be as thorough as I can with the information while I have you. So if we're looking at Bitcoin right now, we're fluctuating right around, we keep bouncing between like 44 and 42K. My video 3 weeks ago, and I shared this on my personal social media, but I even said I would expect us to wick all the way down to like 41K. In fact, the 200-day moving average, if we look at the daily, is sneaking up to us. We are just getting very close. It's like right around 90 or 39.5. So that 200-day moving average is the ultimate level that we do not want to break and we typically bounce from. So even if we wicked all the way down to 39.5, which I think is possible with how much fear, doubt, and uncertainty are compounding in the news, then that's okay too. So I'll be covering that as it unfolds. But in the meantime, let's just look at the space as a whole. So aside from Bitcoin having a lot of struggles and the total cryptocurrency market cap being right around slightly over $2 trillion, which we just broke 2 trillion for the first time like 6 weeks ago. So if everyone could just inhale and exhale with me, that would be phenomenal. At this point, we are seeing some altcoins show a ton of strength. And the reason why I don't come on here every single video and tell everyone to fucking just dive into Ethereum is because, yeah, did it run up from 2K to 4K after a long period of consolidation over the course of 3 months? Absolutely. But now it's back down to 3,300, took a big blow off top. And a lot of people that are new to the space, they're like, I don't know what to do. I put all my money into Ethereum. And that's why I talk a lot about the other projects that I like outside of just Bitcoin and Ethereum, including to newcomers, because I think that there are some stable, reliable cryptos in the top 10, in the top 15, that I would recommend to other people. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not an oracle, nor am I a fucking wizard. So all of this is just educational. Do your own research and try and make the best decisions that make sense for you. But one of those projects is Cardano. I talk about them more than most projects on my channel. And people keep saying, oh, on Twitter, oh, they're vaporware and they don't do anything. Yes, they do. They have multiple nationwide partnerships all throughout Africa. They're meeting with plenty of people in the US as well. That whole narrative about the environment, well, they're eco-friendly on top of that. They're onboarding millions of users. Their IDO launches have been going purely parabolic. And I still think that this is just the start for them. So they, over the course of that first part of the dip, when I was discussing Elon Musk in the previous video and what he was saying, they continued to run up. And we went all the way up to, on CoinMarketCap, it has the high at $2.30. But ultimately on popular apps like Coinbase, they wicked all the way up to about $2.49. Now, that's incredible because Cardano right now is sitting around a market cap of about $64 billion. Now, as their mainnet goes live over the coming month and a half, and everyone starts to come on and use decentralized applications that they're used to using on Ethereum, such as Uniswap or different DeFi projects. Ethereum, the fees that I've been fucking paying on Ethereum have been upwards of a couple $100, but on average about $70 to $90. Every time I do something, every time I try and do a swap, every time I have to interact with that platform, it's incredibly expensive. And I get it, it's institutional money, they're buying. Okay, that's fine. But if they ever want to interact with people that have whatever cryptocurrency it is, people can't afford to use that, which is why they've been going to the Binance Smart Chain and that ecosystem, which I'm going to mention them in a second. But with Cardano, as they go live, a bunch of people are going to migrate over to that, not only because they have a very big base of supporters and followers, but they've done everything right. The network is fully decentralized. The staking and the blocks being produced are fully by the community all over the world. And I think that they're going to continue to have upside. And I'm glad to see $2 holding is a nice level of support, even during all of this, shakeout garbage going on currently. The big story going around most of the crypto space is Polygon Matic that I mentioned multiple times on this show, all the way back to my altcoin preparation video, to twice, what did I buy during the dip? Matic has continued to blow people's minds and expectations. And you see a lot of people talk about Dogecoin. Even on SNL or the stories they were putting out, if you bought $1,000 of Dogecoin at the start of the year, how much money would you have? Like $121,000. Well, on January 1st, Matic Polygon was right around 2 cents, almost 2 cents on the dot. So if you bought $1,000 in that, right now, we went all the way up to even higher than this 248. Most apps, it was up to like 260, 280. I'm sure you can do the math, but that is probably even outperforming that massive, ridiculous, meme-fueled run that Doge had. And that's because Polygon and Matic, again, just to mention it, they are the #1 layer 2 that is helping to scale Ethereum. So a lot of those transactions, a lot of the apps that aren't having success on Ethereum, like Aave that just hit new all-time high, which is a lending protocol DeFi app most of you probably should be familiar with if you're on Coinbase. They finally migrated over to Polygon and they were able to break through to new all-time highs because they don't have that hindrance of Ethereum fucking up all their fees. And Matic continues to show strength right now as it pushes towards the top 10 with the current market cap of $15 billion. I am a big believer in not running into green candles. Do not buy high and do not sell low. Now, I bought Matic early on and have continued to buy each one of the dips. The last time I bought it was around $1 in this last dip. And I even snagged a little bit more on the way up here around like $1.80. But that was just out of profits from other things. If I was coming in new to this space and I was like, I got to put my money somewhere, I wouldn't dive in all in on Polygon now. If this is the first video you're watching of mine or the first time you're hearing about it, what I would do is wait for a correction, wait for things to calm down. And if it keeps running up, then it is what it is. You missed that opportunity. And I saw a lot of people, and I'm going to make a little side note here, but people were like, oh, I can't believe this or that influencer was talking about this project that it was up so far. That's irresponsible. Listen, everything in crypto is up and everything will continue to be up. And even when the bear market happens and everything corrects, This space is going to continue to grow 100 times over during the next decade. So there's a certain point where we can't go back and change the past and drag you onto our channels or into the right places for you to learn the information. At a certain point, this is when you've entered the market. So that is why doing your own research and educating yourself about what these actually do. It is not just a bunch of cryptocurrency gambling coins. And that's why Matic has done so well, where all these other meme coins have completely shit the bed. And unless you were in them in the earliest times, you're losing money. Projects like Polygon add significant value in more ways than one to the cryptocurrency space. And that is why they have performed the way that they have. Now, what I want to do outside of this, because I'm not going to cover what I bought during the dip or some of the things I'm looking on right now, because I'm guessing that most people that are here in general are probably a little bit fearful. And a lot of people that are a little more tenured in crypto are fearful as well, just because they have a little bit of PTSD from the last bull market ending and everyone not knowing, oh, is this the top? Well, I'm not just looking at charts. So I want to look at everything from social sentiment to what's going on with who's buying behind the scenes, the on-chain metrics, and ultimately, what have we seen before in the past? So I'm going to do a couple different comparisons there. And then I'm always looking for projects that I believe are undervalued as all these things unfold. I want to share this tweet with you. So this morning I sent out a tweet. Here's your weekly reminder that XVS, which is the ticker for Venus, that I've talked about a couple times, they were on my last what did you buy under the dip, is still undervalued. And 4 hours later, I don't know who heard me or if other people that know what they're doing were looking at this as well, but they quickly took advantage of that. So I'll keep pointing those things out to everyone. I know that I by no means am a fintech expert or a coder or a god from the future, but I would like to think that I spend enough time staring at this stuff day in and day out 24/7 to have a pretty good gauge on what's going on. Now, one thing I'm going to talk about is Elon Musk, and I know, we're fucking tired of hearing about him, but I want to point something out because I got a bunch of texts from people saying, oh, it's over, Elon sold. No, he fucking didn't. Here's what happened. So there's this guy on Twitter. I've actually corresponded with him a couple times. He goes by Mr. Whale. A lot of people on Twitter that are in the crypto space are already banned by him. Apparently, he's changed his profile a couple times, known for scams and other bullshit. I don't care. I'm not here to fight with anyone. But ultimately, he put up a tweet 2-3 days ago that said Bitcoiners are going to slap themselves next quarter when they find out Tesla dumped the rest of their Bitcoin. With the amount of hate Elon Musk is getting, I wouldn't blame him. Now, by hate that he was getting, a bunch of Bitcoin so-called maximalists, people that don't even believe in Ethereum or DeFi, they just believe in Bitcoin since it was there from the beginning, and that is the sound store of value that's going to work against the devaluing of our currencies and protect everyone from inflation. They were really blowing him up because of his focus on Doge. But his response to this was he just said, indeed. Now, in my eyes, and this is just my opinion, that is towing the line with are you crossing regulations with the SEC? Because although it doesn't affect, like they can't go in and try and say, oh, you're manipulating crypto, there isn't enough regulation. But there are enough shareholders in Tesla that could be affected by this news and whether or not he did, that it could create a ton of concerns. But that is why we dumped from that 47K holding pattern that we were in all the way down to around 42. I think we wicked down to that night. Now later on, he came out based on a tweet, Bitcoin down 20% since Elon Musk started shitposting. You wonder why some people are mad. And he responded, to clarify speculation, Tesla has not sold any Bitcoin. And also to clarify, I don't believe that they bought any Doge either. This is just market manipulation. Another YouTube channel that I follow, and he's one of the few that I think gives a little bit more insight when it comes to the news portion. There are certain things as far as like the cryptos and stuff and where to put your money that I disagree with, but when it comes to the news, Cryptos Are Us is his channel. The guy's name is George. I still recommend his channel, but he was breaking down yesterday that the Bitcoin price action behind everything else, is following the options contracts and derivatives and the CMEs that are out for Bitcoin. So it keeps landing in a place to create the maximum amount of pain for everyone involved. So if you have a bunch of people calling for a $30,000 Bitcoin and a bunch of people calling for a $70,000 Bitcoin, they try and land it right in the middle. And that might be the whales that have been in crypto for a while, or that just might be a combination of the market reacting how it does. But it seems to be lining up every single time with the maximum pain point between where the highest amounts of options, calls, and puts are. So I'm curious to see how that continues to wind up. But I can say that based on the on-chain metrics that I covered in that video a couple weeks ago when I was saying, hey, we could wick down to 41K-ish, we're not overheated on any of them. We were super white hot in the market, and we had a bunch of people coming in. The Binance Smart Chain was blown up with shit meme coins. You had all this different news and speculation. This is good. This is good to take everything and come and cool off a bit. And I've seen people put out many, many tweets and many breakdowns. And originally, I think it was Mike Novogratz from Galaxy Digital came out and broke down, or maybe it was Peter Brandt, a previous investor, and he said, hey, the average dip for Bitcoin all throughout 2017 and 2013 came out to be like 35%. Right now, we're right at about 35% in our correction, from 64K-ish down to about 42K-ish. So this is nothing out of the ordinary. And on top of that, it continuously tries to recover, but then you have to compound all this bad news and all this fear and doubt of Elon in the market and messing that up. And we've seen news left and right, and I'm sure I would be shocked if tomorrow on the 19th, when Tether, the largest stable coin, that company that backs it, they have to release their financial reports because they had some issues back in the day that I mentioned, and they're going to try and see if all of this is backed, right, by real money or assets. So I'm sure even if it was 100% backed, the same fucking stories that came out from 2017 are going to be like, oh, it's not backed. And that's where I think we're going to get the final push down, if we do get one, to that 39K area briefly, to bounce off that 200-day moving average. But until then, I think that right around here is where we're going to fluctuate. Now, for other news coming out, and this is big because it just came out today, because you got to compound it. You got to keep stacking it on. Elon wasn't enough, couldn't crash the market. So let's go ahead and get China involved again. Now, China bans initial coin offerings, calling them illegal fundraising. So the People's Bank of China has declared initial coin offerings illegal and wants them to cease immediately. Now, fun fact about this story is this is from September 2017. The same story came out today. I mean, obviously the context is different. Like maybe a different person called for it, or it was released through different regulatory bodies. But this is not the first fucking time that China has done this. They've done this consistently almost every single year since 2017, calling for banning different parts of Bitcoin, stopping institutions from using them. People can't bank. They can still hold cryptocurrency. Nowhere have they said that they can't hold cryptocurrency. They're just trying to throw a wrench in the whole process of institutions or peer-to-peer transactions with it. But it isn't new, which is why I wanted to pull this story up first, because guess what? It's the same fucking thing. So I'll come back to this in a second, but here's the story that came out today from Reuters. China bans financial payment institutions in cryptocurrency business. So China has banned financial institutions and payment companies from providing services related to cryptocurrency transactions, warn investors against speculative crypto trading. Under the ban, such institutions, including banks and online payment channels, and I believe that includes exchanges, must not offer clients any services involving cryptocurrency, such as registration, trading, clearing, settlement. Three bodies in the industry said in a joint statement Tuesday. And here's their quote. Recently, cryptocurrency prices have skyrocketed and plummeted, and speculative trading of cryptocurrency has rebounded, seriously infringing on the safety of people's property and disrupting the normal economic and financial order. Now, funny that that's coming from a country that has incredible human rights violations and an authoritarian government, and I believe an entire minority or religious group currently being camped up and having a bunch of shit go on while they monitor everything going on. But, I'm not going to sit here and try and debate any of that. What I am saying is that statement is completely unfounded and hypocritical. And most people, this validates the need for cryptocurrency. If anything, these regulatory bodies or countries, whoever tries to ban it time and time again, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, they're just validating the need for it. And every time they try and ban it, they strengthen it because it just shows how dangerous it is in the current system that we have. That the only thing they care about is maintaining their power. They don't care about any of the citizens or the population that are being affected by a litany of different issues, regardless of the country. It's all about just maintaining the power, because no one that was ever looking out for your economical benefit, if you're poor, even in this country, is going to go out on a fucking limb for you, give you a loan or a leg up or help you. It's only when you start to possibly find a way out or a way to break out of their system, then all of a sudden it's a fucking problem. Now, people already had the tweets coming out. 3 dumb things that happened within the last hour. Reuters writing a misleading article on China banning. People retweeting Reuters and believing it, market dumping on the news. China didn't just ban crypto. It's reiterating an anti-speculation law from years ago. And then really, it has to do more with regulation of how all this goes down. I'm sure Binance is going to have something to say about it. Now, this is so recent, there isn't any new news out. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, here's what they're going to do, or it's all just smoke and mirrors, they won't change anything. But what I can say fairly confidently, in my non-financial advisor opinion, is this isn't going to stop anything, both in the short term and the long term. And we see on the exchanges, in the metrics, on Glassnode, on CryptoQuant, the mass amounts of crypto that's leaving the exchanges. If you look at the data and break it down statistically, most of the cryptocurrency that has been sold and put back onto exchanges has come predominantly from new users. So it's all those people jumping in, almost being in the negative instantly, and then seeing all this news and panicking and pulling their money at a loss. And then Wolf of Wall Street's Scott Melker, you called China ban, we called another Tuesday in crypto. And he's not wrong. That's every other person, including myself. I had a couple tweets that I put up. We're like, okay, this is it. They broke down to the China FUD, that fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That means we're at like the highest peak of this fear cycle and dumping everything, which typically gives us that next leg up once all this dust settles. I personally would like to see everything, if we could go back and let's say bounce back up above like 45-ish, and then we just stay there around like 45 to 50, and we bounce back and forth for like another month and a half, and let all the altcoins still going through altcoin season, like Polygon that's blowing up, like Cardano that's blowing up, a bunch of other IDOs and new projects and low caps and mid caps that are really taking off right now despite all the fear in the market. Let them have their moment. And then as we approach July with Ethereum's EIP 1559 update, as well as Bitcoin finally getting out of this fear cycle and everyone recognizing, oh, holy shit, actually this bank just announced that they're incorporating it, that bank just announced they're incorporating it. Don't forget that BNY Mellon and who was it, Morgan Stanley, both applied for Bitcoin ETFs. The New York DIG, which is the New York Digital Investment Group, came out and said that hundreds and thousands of banks are going to be coming out and offering to not only custody Bitcoin, but you can sell it, buy it, and store it with them. All of these banks that are late to the party, they have to make sure that they have those assets. They have so little time to play catch up in all of this. So the only thing they can do is dump the price and buy it cheaper from the people that were unable to either understand or sweat it out, while everything else was just chopped to bits over the last couple of weeks. So hopefully, if you're feeling any type of concern about the market or anything like that, Hopefully this video helps. I know that I'm not pulling up like all the specific percentages and metrics and everything like that. I just spend all day long looking at much, much, much smarter than me individuals that are doing their own individual videos and deep dives in each of their respective professions and each of their respective specialties. Then I try and consolidate all that information both mentally and in practice and put myself in the best position to succeed. And so far, even though my Bitcoin overall position is down significantly, because Bitcoin is down, what, 20,000 or more per Bitcoin, I'm still almost at an all-time high in my portfolio because I've been buying the dips and reallocating things and making sure that I'm where the money is flowing and I'm where things need to be in order to succeed. So I'll leave you guys with a quote. So I put it back up on my social media, but I said, knowledge is the greatest weapon against manipulation. And I will stand by that throughout this entire cycle. And guess what? When we break through this and run back up, regardless if it's next month or, I mean, who knows? I don't know everything. We could go into a mini little bear market inside a bull market. It did that back in 2013 before running up to higher all-time highs. But what I do know is that they will try and stop this at any cost so that they can be in the best position for themselves. And the only way that you're going to get through is not to have the money to invest, because plenty of people had money set aside, whether it was through stimulus or just new savings, and they put it into this market and now it's gone because they saw the market plummet, they saw some incorrect news, and now all of a sudden they're sitting there and they're watching certain coins that they bought or certain projects outside of Bitcoin 50, 100% higher, and they don't understand why. So all of this information is accessible to us. We just have to go out and do our due diligence, be able to extrapolate what is real and what is not. And hopefully this channel brings a little bit of peace of mind, a little bit more of a stable, sort of unbiased, un-moon boy, un-5 million every coin. We're all going to the moon prediction, and just gives a more grounded approach. But as always, if you know anyone that's panicking right now or needs to see this video, please share it with them if you could. It means a lot if you could go and like this video and leave a comment. And ultimately, I am honored that you come back and spend your time with me here on Viva la Coin, and I will catch you guys next time.